Can't talk. How many of you guys have walked the entire con floor so far? All right, we're getting there. It's an accomplishment. There's a lot to see and a lot to do. But we are glad that you are here in this panel room. Guys, are y'all ready for a little bit of turtle time? See, they got their own walk-up music. Coming to the stage right now, we have Judith Hoag and Brian Tochi.
Hey.
Oh, almost fell.
The oldest trick in the book. Trip up the stairs.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. Brian, we're going to be sitting on Temple Furniture.
Temple Furniture. Thank you, Temple Furniture.
Well, we're done. You can buy the couch.
Yes, or a lovely marble table.
Wow.
How about that? Judith.
Hi, Brian.
Hi, Judith. And hi, everybody here. Yay! Bunga, dudes! That sounds familiar to some of you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yay! So we are here at Bell County.
Yes.
I've never been to Bell County before.
I haven't either. Where's the bell?
Yeah.
Behind you.
I keep looking for the bell.
Oh, there's a bell. We have the bell. Okay, so thank you everybody for coming to say hello and showing up. This is kind of really fun for us.
Yes. We're glad to be here and with our host and hostess with the most and mostest.
Oh, so kind, so kind. Well, like you said, we're here at Bell County Comic-Con, and just right off the bat, like, you guys go do like a handful of conventions, or like, is there just like you guys make it
a sweep of the country?
Right? Like, have you guys like gone to many cons in your time?
Yes. We haven't seen each other since May in Atlanta.
Right.
And then, are we doing
I don't
more
do that
this
many.
year?
We are.
I know. Brian,
We don't do that. I don't do very
you guys
many.
are very lucky.
But because Judith was going to be doing this, I thought, oh, I've got to go. But I get to see you in November.
Yes, I'm very excited. Ranger stuff.
Yes, Ranger stuff.
Yeah.
So we get to see each other for these kind of things, which are the coolest things, because the people we meet are the coolest.
They are.
And then we're talking about all of you.
Absolutely.
So yay.
Ninja Turtle fans by far. And you know, it's funny because Brian and I had never met until a year ago. It was the first time we were in Atlanta, right?
Right.
Was that Atlanta? Somewhere.
Yeah.
And we had never actually met each other, fell in love, and we're going to exchange numbers.
And we missed each other.
And
so we were
I've been trying to find
blind to each
him.
other.
Yes. And so the last time I saw him, I was like, no.
But it was love when we first got together.
Yeah. So, now I know where to find him.
All right, so speaking of conventions and all the things you've done, do you have a favorite fan interaction or a favorite fan question that just sticks to your mind?
Well, you know what's really funny is that I've been around, I was a child actor, so I've done like a lot of like different TV series and a lot of different movies, that some of them they play like every day, which is kind of cool. But I will be surprised, out of the blue, somebody's going to mention something that I did from way back when, and they'll know every little nuance. And I'm going, how do you know that? I don't even remember that. But anyway, that's kind of the cool thing about going to a con, is you get to meet people who kind of know sometimes your background, you know.
Kind of better than us.
Yes, better than us.
It's crazy. I think my favorite, two stand out. The first one was now a grown man who was a child who was homeless with his mom. And they lived in their car, and then they lived in a shelter. And then his mom finally made enough money where they could get a hotel room. And she bought him a VCR. And she bought him the Ninja Turtle movie. And it was his babysitter. We were his babysitters when his mom was out trying to get a job or out. You know, he was a latchkey kid, and his mom had passed. And when he came and to say hello, and he got really emotional and he started crying. I was like, anytime somebody starts to cry, there is a story attached to this. I said, so you're going to have to dish. And he told me the whole story. Now I'm crying, and his mom had passed away, and he was like, this really was my childhood. So that's one. And stories like that, because it seems like we played an important part in some kids' lives. We were going through some really challenging stuff. The second one was surreal. It was this young woman who came in and she was wearing fishnet stockings. And she was like, can I have your autograph? I said, absolutely. And so she ripped her stockings and I signed her leg and she said, and now I'm going to go get it tattooed. And I was like, you're what? You're what? And she came back like 3 hours later with my name tattooed on her leg, and I was like, oh, if I had known, I would have tried even harder with that signature.
Did I ever show you my Judith Hoag tattoo? Maybe I shouldn't.
It rhymes with hamp lamp.
Are there any Judith and Brian superfans in here today?
Yay! Oh, God bless you. Love you.
Guys, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
All right, so Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. How did you become involved? When you went to the audition, you're just like, teenagers,
Right.
mutants,
Right.
ninjas, and turtles. Did I read that right? Or how?
Right.
Like, what was your initial reaction when?
Well, yeah, it was kind of like that. It was like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. What the hey is that? There's kids in the room. Good thing Lee Tilden's not here. He's a F-bomber.
No, my agent actually handed me the script and said, read it, ignore the title. It's a really sweet script, and I read it and I ignored the title, and it was a really sweet script.
And then I met Steve Barron, who was the director, and we played for a while in the room, and he had a couple of very specific things that he wanted me to do. Like when I see Splinter for the first time and I have to do this, he wanted this high-pitched, like, kind of thing that I never loved. And it was like, but you do what the director tells you to. And I left and I was heading home. It was an audition in Times Square in New York in an office building there. And as I walked home, I thought, I think I just got that movie. I think I do. And I think by the time I got home, I found out that I cried.
Because she's such a good actress.
Says
She's
she's a
amazing.
brilliant actor.
She's
That's high
amazing.
praise coming from him.
And for me, it was kind of an interesting thing. I've been really lucky because I've done just a lot of different projects.
Right.
And for Leonardo, for those of you who don't know, I played Leonardo in the first 3 movies, the leader of the Turtles.
Right.
But, well, they had hired somebody before me.
What?
Yeah, Leonardo was up and hired. They hired the guy. I wasn't around. And so they hired him, and then they fired him.
I know about that.
Yeah. And and then they hired another guy.
What?
They hired another guy. And then they fired him.
Welcome to Hollywood.
Welcome to Hollywood. And then I happened to be getting off another project. I happened to become available. And so the casting person who knew me, she sent...
Was that Lynn Kressel?
No, it was actually Barbara Harris.
Okay.
And so but they were working together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With Francine Maysler.
Yes, with
Yeah.
Francine Maysler. And so she called my agent. She sent a script over. Would Brian like to do this thing? What is it? It's called the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. What is that?
Right.
What's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle? I don't know. And evidently it was a really great dark comic book.
Right.
And evidently they had just started the cartoon, which I had not heard
I
of.
knew nothing about it
Knew nothing.
until after. I was like, do Does anyone want to tell me there was a cartoon that I could watch and
Exactly.
like get some backstory?
Right.
No.
And so, lo and behold, they gave me the part. And
they didn't
fire me, so that was a good thing. That's why I get to fall in love with Judith Hoag.
Yay.
Anyway, so from there, we've been really lucky. I've been really lucky
Yeah.
to maintain it.
Great. And Judith, you were saying when you were doing the audition with,
Steve Barron, the director. Yeah.
oh my goodness, what was your reaction when you just saw a giant animatronic rat? And it's just sitting there, and you're like,
Well,
oh.
you know,
Or it's
when
like puppetry.
Yeah, when I got the job, and when I first flew to Wilmington, North Carolina, they had Jim Henson's Creature Shop from London had built all the creatures there, or all the turtles and everybody there, and then transported it to the United States. And I really didn't know, you're reading the script and you're working on a part, but I didn't have an idea of what this would look like, And when I saw it for the first time, it was on a stand, it was not on a person. It was amazing. It was like, yes, that's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And then they were, I don't remember, I think Splinter was done by that point, but it was, so Splinter's in several pieces. He's the body and the torso, and then the hands and the feet are different puppeteers. It takes, 3 different puppeteers to do it, to put him together. And seeing him was really thrilling, and acting with him was thrilling. And also because it was with Kevin Flash, who was Elmo, and an incredible puppeteer. So it was pretty cool.
All right, so Brian, having worked on Star Trek, so you did the original series and Next Generation. What is your favorite memory from either of those?
Well, it's interesting because I'm told legend has it that there are only 3 people living now. Somebody told me that there are actually 2 left. I'm one of them, who did an original Star Trek and have come back to do another one of the series. I said, you're kidding. And since I was one of the youngest people ever to appear on Star Trek, I figure I'm going to be the last one standing. God willing.
How old were you?
I was minus 12, something like that. Yeah. I was like an embryo, but a very mature embryo.
An embryo was what?
It was like, yes,
Yeah.
that was me. So yeah, so it's kind of an interesting thing that my first thing ever was this kind of like crazy, fun thing. And when you're a little kid, I was a little kid. It's like acting wasn't the idea. We were just kind of having fun. It's like a hobby. And so I remember going to the set, and you have like William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy and all the people, and I'm still friends with George Takei, who played Sulu. I'll do George Takei. I can't even do it. But he laughs like this in real life. That's George Takei laughing. That's Sulu laughing in real life. You're right. Yeah.
Good call.
Yeah. However, I'll tell a secret, but you can't tell anybody about this stuff. When I was in the first Star Trek, I remember sitting on William Shatner's lap at lunch. Right? They were really nice to us kids. But I was on lunch and looking up, and I looked straight up.
You
And
were
Bill,
little.
I was little.
That is so sweet.
And so I remember Bill had this net on his head. I thought, well, that's kind of interesting, underneath. And I had no idea what is that.
No.
And years later, somebody says, well, are you silly? That's a toupee.
I'm just glad you didn't reach up and try to
I
grab
know, yeah. And so all these years, I didn't realize until I got older, that was actually a toupee. But a good-looking one, if you look at the old Star Treks.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not supposed to say anything like that because it'll probably
So
come back to haunt
that's
me.
just for the family.
That's just for us.
That's
just for us
family
to
talk.
know,
It
just
doesn't
to
leave the
share.
house, kids.
Yeah. And so then I came back because I'm friends with Jonathan Frakes, and so
Who's a great guy.
Who's a great guy. And so they said, hey, and the producer said, hey, Brian, do you want to come do another Star Trek? So I said, yeah. So I came back to do Next Generation.
Oh my goodness. Judith, when you got the role for April, did you do any like research on like how to be a news reporter? Were you like practicing coming up tonight at 6, a crash? Or were you just like
That's what a professional actress would do. I heard that that's what you should do. But I did not do that. Sorry. When I got Ninja Turtles, I was shooting another movie called Cadillac Man. And we were shooting in a car dealership in Queens, New York. And it was 5 days a week. You had to be there from the beginning of the day to the end of the day because it was a very improvisational kind of movie. So they never knew like when we were going to need people there and bodies. And we all worked in the car dealership. And so I was just consumed with that. And it was really only like my second movie that I'd ever done. And so I was just learning. And plus I basically sat at the feet of the master, which is Robin Williams, and just learned so much from him. So I didn't do any research. I knew there was a comic book. I didn't know there was a cartoon. And I just went with instinct.
But when you're as great an actress as this one here, I guess you really don't need to study. You just do your magic that's inherent in
Totally.
Nike, just do it.
You just, yeah. And by the way, I have to say, from my perspective, she's the one that laid the foundation for April O'Neil. Seriously.
Well, I think Renee Jacobs is also part of that. She was the voice in the cartoon.
She was the voice, Renee's lovely.
Yeah.
But from the movie standpoint, a lot of people tell me that really for them, that was kind of the foundation for their Ninja Turtle kind of.
Well, I think it was
action.
really unique, and it was such a departure from the second and the third movie, which really turned more into like traditional kids movies. They were shot a lot brighter. It was a little. What Steve did is he shot it intentionally kind of dark, and come on, and the kids that are here, kids are complicated. They're not these sunshiny, happy-go-lucky little creatures. They are sometimes, but it's a very complicated existence. You have zero power. Everybody's telling you what to do. You've got so many things pulling at you. You're trying to figure out who you are. And I know a lot of really kind of dark kids who are now grown up, and a lot of you are all here today.
But what's so interesting is that, they took that dark, and it was, first of all, when we did the film, it premiered, and it was an independent film. It was not a big studio film.
No.
And at that time, when we debuted, it was the largest box office take, first weekend take in history for an independent film. And on top of that, not only was it the number one box office, but it continued on, and it became, at the end of the run, the highest grossing independent film in all of film history. So kind of Ninja Turtles, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie.
And what was kind of crazy about that, Brian, was the producers thought they had a real dog on their hands. They had done a screening at Paramount with New Line Cinema and some other executives who weren't kids, didn't watch the cartoon, didn't get there's this kids movie that doesn't really seem like a traditional kids movie, and there was no laughing, there was no clapping. So they walked out of that screening like, oh my God, we're never going to work again. This is it. This is the end of our career. And so when the film premiered, they were in Los Angeles, and they said, well, let's just drive around the theaters and just see if there's even anybody there. And when they started hitting the theaters, it was like there were lines There were lines down the block. They were down the block. They were going around the corner, and they were thrilled because it was like, okay, this is going to work out. We're going to actually get a chance to work again in Hollywood, and we might actually have a hit. And then, man, we had a giant hit.
Well, you know what's funny is that studio heads really have no skill, so they become studio heads.
Yeah.
And so the studio head just says, oh, this is going to be a dog. This is never going to work.
Well, this is going to be a blockbuster.
No, a blockbuster, and it dies of a horrible death. I did this one film I did a thing called Revenge of the Nerds. And it's so funny because...
so good.
Yeah, thank you for that. And so what's funny is that we were filming the thing, and they thought they had a dog on their hands.
Right.
They didn't like the dailies, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so we, through the actors, we really kind of redid our own stuff, threw in our own stuff. So when the studio launched it, released it, they thought, we're not going to release it in very many theaters. It's going to die. But we have to make some money on it so we can take it to video. Okay, these are the studio heads, right, who really know what movie making's all about and what's going to be in it. Well, so they didn't anticipate anything. When they released it, there were lines around the block.
Right.
And Revenge of the Nerds became this crazy little hit that nobody expected.
To this day,
yeah,
people, it's like classic. People love that.
Oh God, it was so much fun. And so there you go. You never know what you're going to be doing as an actor,
right?
You know, and such. We just happen to be really lucky to kind of be a part of something that still resonates after so many years, actually decades. I mean, it's so amazing. And just to see, I see like a family of turtles here in your outfits and all that. I mean, when we meet people, it's so impactful to hear their stories. It's so touching to me and to Judith. I mean, to meet all of so many of you. It's great. And I'm just so proud to be a part of it and proud to know you. And
I know, finally.
Yay.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the crazy thing about, is there anybody in here who wants to be an actor? Oh, there we go. Okay, we've got a couple of, a model, actor, so you're a hyphen, actor/model, a slash completely red, amazing, but it's challenging. I mean, it's really, really challenging to navigate these crazy waters. And then, you finally get a job, and you're so excited, and you want, if it's a film, you want it to do really well, and it goes nowhere.
Yeah.
And then other things just come in and take off, and it's really hard to predict.
But what's so cool, somebody like Judith, I mean, she's done so many roles. How many people have watched Nashville? Anybody see Nashville, the series Nashville?
Yeah.
She's so brilliant. I mean, she's this gal, honestly, I'm sharing couch with real talent.
Well, and back at you.
Oh.
You are incredibly talented.
Oh.
And you're talented in front of the screen and behind the screen.
Oh. Well, she doesn't mean what you might be thinking.
Oh.
She's married.
No, but I mean, you are well-rounded in so many areas.
Oh, thank you.
And which is great. He's right brain and left brain. He's a full brain.
Whole grain brand. Oh, yeah. It's a whole nother thing.
All right, we want to talk about your other roles, but we got one last Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle question.
Who is your favorite turtle? I was asking them, but thank you. Who are y'all's favorite turtle?
Okay, so I have two answers to that question. So Judith, the actress, really loves them all because all the actors that I work with, I really just loved them and still love them. And then April, I'm sorry, it's Raph. He saved me. He saved me.
The age-old question has been
answered. I loved Leo. I loved him, and then Mikey and Donnie, but Raph saved me.
My answer, believe it or not, is Leonardo.
I didn't see that one coming.
Oh, okay, I know. But you know what's interesting? If you think about it, Leonardo was kind of he was the leader of the Turtles.
Yes.
But so he was kind of the more laid-back, boring of the Turtles, I thought.
Yeah.
But that was his role because he had to be the leader.
Yeah, well, he's kind of like the big brother, and they're the squirrely little. I felt like it was like Leo, Raph, and then Donnie and Mikey would be kind of like...
The banter.
Yeah, they were like Irish twins or something.
Yes. Yeah.
Excellent. All right. So moving on, we want to hear about your other work, Ryan. Do you ever get noticed by the police as Nogada?
Ah.
They're just like, oh, there he is.
Actually, the reason what he's referring to is, I don't know, also, I did some of the Police Academy movies.
Yeah.
I'm Sergeant Callahan's lover.
You ahead of the time.
Ahead of the time. But it's really funny you should ask because a couple of times, especially closer when I was filming back then, I was a kind of a speed demon.
Where are you really?
I live in California, Southern California, and I always had fast
I feel
cars.
like I know what's coming.
And so a couple of times when I was pulled over,
Yep, I knew it.
thinking I was going to definitely get a ticket, lo and behold, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I said, yeah, me, I'm so sorry. Okay, we're going to let you off with a warning. So a couple of times I got very lucky.
That is beautiful.
Yeah,
See,
and I didn't
you can
get
out of tickets.
Yes. Do a couple of the police academies, and you might be able to get out of some speeding tickets.
All right, so Brian, so you've done live action, you've done a lot of voice acting. Which do you prefer, and what do you like about each separately?
Okay, what's interesting is like for voice acting, I've done so many things that I'm not even credited for. But what makes it so cool is that you don't have to necessarily study a script beforehand. I'll just come into the studio and I'll just be able to go rip through a lot of stuff. And you don't have to shower if you don't want to. But I do. I shower. I'm telling you, I'm not saying I don't shower. But you don't have to shower. So basically, it's a smaller kind of world where a lot of the actors know the other actors. So it's kind of a real kind of easier kind of deal. When you're actually filming something or on your location or whatever, what makes it so cool is the bonding with the other actors. That is really what, and being able to literally interact when you're physically in front of them and they're going back and forth and you can really kind of dynamically play. That, I think, is much more interesting and much more fun. And also, like for example, like the police academies, being of the police academies, or the Revenge of the Nerds cast, to this day, we're all really close friends. We're still in touch. We get together. We'll go cocktailing it on occasion. But I love, to answer your question, I love really the on-camera interaction more than just the voiceover stuff.
Awesome. Now, Judith, out of all the characters that you play throughout your career, is there a character that you would just like to meet in real life? And I mean, it's not like looking in a mirror and talking, but you're gonna like have a sit-down conversation with a character.
Yeah. I would say I was on a series called The Magicians on Sci-Fi. And I played a character named Stephanie Quinn, and I did sex magic. And my husband and I, who perished on the show, he was, what happened? He was like infected by a what was it called? A limb pert, something. Anyway, it was a creature, a magical creature, and it killed him. But she was such a horrible mother. Like,
yeah, she was a bad
horrible mother. Like, bad. My daughter brought her boyfriend home, and, she caught us in the kitchen, and I'm trying to, crawl all over him, and it's bad. Don't do that. I learned there. I was like, oh, right, not to do. No. But she was also, she did a turn towards the end, that was fun and interesting. And I would love to sit down and say, so what was going through your mind? What? So, yeah, that. But I played a lot of very fun, interesting, very different characters. Yeah.
Brian, same question. Like, who would you like to be? A character that you've played before?
Well, you know, it's interesting. I just have a different take on it because I was really lucky. I was a little kid actor too, and what was interesting is instead of meeting a real or a fictional character, I was really lucky. I was really close to two people who were big stars. One of them, I don't know if have you ever heard of Yul Brynner? Yul Brynner was the bald. He was the original King of the King and I. The Westworld. Ton of stuff, yeah. And so he and I, we were really close till the day he died. My first TV series was as his oldest son on CBS. And
Brian, how are you? Brian.
Yeah.
He has a very deep,
Amazing.
voice.
He had a
Yeah.
resonance
Yes.
and a presence and just an amazing human being. And whenever he was like, I visited him in theater, he was doing the King and I, different parts of the world, or he'd come to LA, he always stayed at the Bel Air Hotel, so I'd go visit him all the time. And the other guy, did you ever hear of Ricardo Montalban?
It's rich Corinthian leather.
Yes, rich Corinthian leather.
Yeah,
He
he was
Rourke.
a big, he was Rourke, yeah.
He was Rourke in Fantasy Island,
yeah.
the original Fantasy Island, but he was a
He
huge,
was a film
the
star.
Latin lover
Yeah.
in the movies.
Yeah.
Anyway, he also was like a kind of a godfather to me. We did also the King and I in the theater, and we went on tour together. So he took care of me, my sisters. I had twin sisters on there.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
And so to answer your question, it's really, I got a chance to live out the fantasy in the sense that I got to meet and get to know some of these really great people. If that answers the question.
All right, so Judith, you've been in so many things. Your credits are amazingly long. But do you have any favorite, maybe actor or actress that you've ever worked with on any of those shows?
Besides Brian Tochi.
Besides Brian Tochi.
Who we didn't actually, I wish that we had gotten a chance to, look at this. What? Oh my God. Okay.
Pork
Trouble.
Pork roast.
Just walked in.
Just walked in.
You know how we love trouble. Yeah. What's up? Security?
You're right.
Security. That's Rock City. He's at it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give you a pork rub. Yeah. Right? Gosh, what did you ask? The favorite character?
Favorite actor.
Oh, favorite actor. A
There's
lot.
so many of
I would
them.
have to say, I loved working with Debbie Reynolds because she taught me so much. She taught me stuff that she learned from Betty Davis. She told me stories about working with Gene Kelly and Singing in the Rain, her own wild journey, little stories about Elizabeth Taylor, but she taught me a lot. Robin Williams taught me a ton, and I loved working with him. But I would also say Helen Mirren. Somebody actually came in today and had me sign a Hitchcock movie DVD cover. And we did a film together, Hitchcock and Anthony Hopkins played Hitch. And working with her was phenomenal. I've been really blessed. I've worked with a lot of really great actors, and I love it when you meet somebody who you've admired for so long and they're just as awesome when you meet them. Because every now and again you'll meet somebody and you're like, you were better in my fantasy. It doesn't happen a lot. It really doesn't, which is not, or at least I haven't had that experience. But when I really fanned out about somebody and then I get to meet them and then they're awesome, it's just a thrill.
Guys, your talent is limitless, and it's been a pleasure just sitting here getting to talk to you. And my final question is, do you ever get used to being a celebrity? You guys are in the lives of millions of fans, probably billions. Millions is kind of low, billions.
I just look at it as a blessing to have done something that may have impacted some people, you know, and I'm so blessed to get to meet so many different people. I get a chance to say hello to all of you, and I'm so happy that you have us here and let us come and say hello, and hopefully you'll come and say hello to us if we haven't already met. But it's really just honestly just a blessing to just do what you love, and you know, have all the rewards like that.
I feel the same way. I really feel like it's a blessing. I also don't take the word celebrity very seriously. I feel like there's not really any difference between me and you. The only difference is that I have a job that's very high profile. I have been gifted through doing this some amazing experiences. I've got to travel really incredible places and do stuff, but I kind of feel like we live in a culture that's like adores celebrities, but I feel like we're all, I know it sounds so kind of hokey and stupid, but I feel like that is sort of a twisted way of looking at it a little bit. Like, we are the same, we just have different jobs. But
that's what I would tell other people, and say exactly what I mirror what Judith says. It's like the only difference I would say between what I do and, let's say, a janitor or something. A janitor would be doing what janitors do. They sweep and clean things. I just happen to do. It's just they have. I happen to like maybe say a few words with other people and stuff. But just more people happen to see what I do. There's nothing different from us. We're human beings.
Yeah.
And so I'm.
Well, and I also make sure that I don't like. I have really good friends who have been very famous and have like you and the really good ones don't take it seriously. I mean, not seriously, but don't insist on the preferential treatment. Don't insist on certain things happening, because I think that's. I've definitely met people who come up and said, I want to be an actor, and I'm like, okay, why? They're like, well, I want to be a celebrity. I'm like, no, you don't. No, you don't. I mean, I've had friends who are so famous, like they can't go anywhere, and they can't do normal stuff, and they miss that. And while it may seem like that's a really fun thing, I personally have not had that experience. But you do it because you love to do it, not because you want to be a celebrity. Because we've seen all the tragedies of all the people who just want to be celebrities and they end up on TMZ or
to add to what Judith said, I live in a neighborhood in LA where there's a lot of actors and a lot of people. Justin Bieber lived a few doors down from me for a while. And he had to have security all around. He was a great neighbor, by the way. The neighbors all said, "Oh no, he's moving in.
Right,
Justin Bieber. He's going to egg your house. He's going to toilet paper your house."
Right.
It was fine.
Yeah.
And this was on tour. When he went on tour, then he went and moved. And then Adam Levine from Maroon 5.
Right.
Moved. He has, whenever they walked, and I saw them every day, he and his wife. They have to have security walk or drive behind them as they go.
It's not fun.
And it's kind of a pain to do that. So, and they just want to live normal lives. But as Judith said, sometimes, they just...
You can't.
Yeah.
You can't.
And I like how you worded that. They get to live next to you.
No. Did I say it that way? I didn't mean it to sound the way it sounded. Oh,
No, they get to live next to you.
Oh. I didn't mean
you
to
were
sound
there
so.
before them, and you've been alive longer than them. And I bet they're fans.
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
I bet they are.
They're nice people, actually.
I bet.
They are nice people.
All right, so do either of you have any projects that you're working on that you're really excited and want to talk about for the upcoming future?
I have a couple things in development, which, but the thing that I've been working on recently that I really enjoyed so much is I've been working with NECA Toys, and they've been doing action figures of Ninja Turtles, and I jumped in a couple of years ago, and it has been so much fun doing that collaboration and working with the different artists, and then it's kind of opened up a new world.
They have the coolest Judith Hoag as April O'Neil doll. And I mean, you can really see
Yeah,
her
they've done.
face and really know, oh, that's Judith. It's
Yeah.
so great.
Yeah, we have 3 now. The most recent one that's it's coming out is a mashup of Universal Monsters and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So I'm going to be the bride of Frankenstein. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's fun. It's really cool, right?
And I've taken a sabbatical. I started a business. It's kind of a
Yes,
business and such. And so I've done that. I've been turning down different movies. I did do this one thing though, because they kept calling, and I live right around the corner from Warner Brothers. And I said, oh yeah, I'll do it really quick. So I just did the Urkel Christmas special. But I mean, normally right now I'm trying not to do anything because of this other business stuff that I'm doing, which you'll hear about because it's kind of big. It's a big one.
It's gonna be good.
But at least I get to come and see everybody here. I love this. I love getting to meet people, meet everybody, share stories and things.
Yeah.
And I get to see my dear Judith Hoag here, I love. And so, thank you. By the way, everybody, you guys are so great. You rock. Thank you for listening to us and coming to say hello. And really appreciate it.
Judith, Brian, thank you guys so much for another amazing panel. Ladies and gentlemen, be sure to go visit them at their booth, and I'm sure you guys have a photo op sometime this weekend.
And if you guys have questions, come on by and ask questions.
Absolutely. We love you guys. Honestly.
And
we're not one of those people that go, okay, next. No, we love talking with you guys and stuff.
Awesome. Alrighty, Bell County Comic Con, please give it another round of applause.
Thank you.